Hey Stitch family, it's Andrew here. Have you been well? I hope you've been well. It's been ages since I've done one of these videos. I'm sorry. It's always been so busy. I know that this year seems busy for everyone. It's certainly been very busy for me. I did take a break, went away for a vacation with my family. Lucky enough to go to Europe on a trip that I'm going to tell you all about at one point because it was so fantastic. I'd love to organise a trip like that for Stitch members as well. It'd be so fun. But it's very timely because this community update is about the new Stitch feature we're introducing called Stitch Travel. You might have seen it already, but if you have already, I encourage you to take another look because we've just come out with a new version. I'm going to tell you all about it. And we're really excited because travel obviously is a great thing for each individual member. If you get to go on a trip and have a good time, that's fantastic. But it really can play a role. This is my secret belief and goal that we're going to bring the community together by getting people to travel together. Because in my experience, when I've gone on trips with, I've been lucky enough to go traveling and meet other Stitch members. And it's had a transformational impact on the relationships I've had, the friendships I've built, and seeing that play out across the community is one of my big dreams because I think we are a global community. Not everyone will get the opportunity to meet everyone from around the world, but when you do get those opportunities, it really brings home this idea that we're all in it together. Everywhere you travel, you're going to be surrounded by people who welcome you as a Stitch member because you're part of our one big family. That's really, really exciting. So before I show you the new travel page, just wanted to give you an idea why we're doing travel, and probably the three main things we're trying to really solve for our members is, number one, give you people to travel with, give you help you find like-minded members. In some cases, you might be looking for a travel buddy, you might be looking for a roommate, you might be looking for someone to go on a trip with you, or you might be looking for someone to go on a trip and you kind of cross paths. There's a whole range of social aspects to finding people to travel with, and that's a big part of what we can do on Stitch that we don't think you can find anywhere else. Number two, because of the nature of us as a community and always looking after the interests of our members, our goal is to create or make trips available where Stitch members get a lower price than they could possibly get anywhere else, or as low as price or even lower. And that includes, for many of our travel partners, we can provide prices that are lower even than their sale prices. So, and as we grow and as there's more and more trips that come online, we'll do that more and more for Stitch members. But you'll already see, as I'm going to show you, some of the trips we've got up, you'll be able to go to the travel provider's website, you'll be able to have a look at their prices, and even the prices when you see it are on sale. If you book through the Stitch Travel team, our goal is to get you an even lower price, which is great. And the last thing is one thing that we've observed in many of our communities that have tried to organise trips for groups. It's a nightmare trying to get people to commit, because everyone loves to talk about travel. Everyone, if you throw out an idea to everyone, hey, we should all go to Morocco sometime. Yeah. We've seen in the past, people will throw up a discussion and you might get 100 people saying, I'd love to do that. And they've never, ever gone ahead. It's mind-blowing. It's because you get this amazing inertia because no one can really make a decision or commit to an actual date or a time or what are we going to do. So one of the things that we've tried to work on with the way the page works is to get gradual increases in levels of interest and commitment so that you're only really talking with people who are seriously interested in going on the trip. You can pull out at any time. You know it's actually committed, but as things progress, people are getting more and more committed to the point where you get to a point where the actual trip goes ahead. Whether that's just you and one other travel buddy or a whole big group, that's the way the travel page works. Now, there are three things we're trying to address. It's still a work in progress, but we're pretty pleased with how it's going right now, and you're starting to see a bunch of trips going up. So, should we take a look? All right, so you've probably seen it already, but you can get to the travel page by clicking on this big travel button in the middle of the homepage on Stitch, or from any of the pages in the Stitch website just by going to the community menu and clicking travel. And you'll see at the top of the page, for me, I'm registered to a trip already. I can expand this. I'm going to a trip to Japan. I'll tell you about that in a second. And then underneath that, we've got some trips that are upcoming, and you see all trips will have a date of some form on them. These are ones that have been recently updated, and I can scroll across and have a look at them. There are some upcoming trips, just sorted by date order. Same trips, just in different order, so you can see it. And you can see who's going, who's interested. And then beyond that, there's a bunch of trip possibilities. So these are trips that you can go on. That's different. We've posted, Stitch has decided, or we've taken a look at some of the trips available from some of our travel partners, and we think these are trips that will appeal to Stitch members. They're not every trip under the planet, on the planet, and known to man. I'll show you what some of those are and what you do if you've got a trip idea of your own. But these are just some of the ones that we think Stitch members will find interesting. And you can see some people have been going down and registering their interest on these trips. If you go all the way down, you'll see there's even some just trip categories for budget getaways and small group tours and cruising and so on. So on every single trip has a date or a possibility hasn't got a date yet, you can put your interest down. You open it up, click on the button that says I'm interested, just as you do it on an activity, and you're registered as being interested. That helps us, as well as whoever the person who might have suggested the trip, know you're interested, and maybe even reach out to find out if you need more information and so on. But beyond that, then it gets to the point when we need to get you to start to commit to say, well, I'd actually like to be part of the conversation about this. So the new thing that we've introduced with Stitch is, while you might express an interest in travel, it doesn't help unless you're really willing to be part of the conversation and push things forward. And that's where you'll start to see more and more of these faces popping up, of people who are registering to trips and getting involved in actually having a chat about organising the trip. So let's take a look at, first of all, I'll just scroll to some of these possibilities, maybe Vietnam and Cambodia. So this is a trip that is provided by one of our travel partners, Intrepid Travel. We hear great things about Intrepid from all our Stitch members who've gone on trips. And you will see prices listed, but it's really important to note, we're just giving you an idea of the sort of prices that you might see about this trip on the Intrepid Travel page. When you actually come to book, you will get the best price available, and I'll show you how that works as well. But you might say, well, look, this looks pretty good. There's a bunch of people interested. You can click to say you're interested in this trip. And at this point, we're then interested in going, okay, you might be interested in the trip. There's a lot of people interested in the trip. For it to actually go ahead, one of you needs to be the first person to say what your preferred date or date range is for this trip. So you can get started on suggesting that date range, or you might just ask a few questions, or you might just sit with it for a little bit and say, look, I just want to express I'm interested, and I'm just going to think about things. So go through, put your name down for a bunch of things, and if you want to, you can remove yourself as well. But when you're ready, you might decide, I've actually decided next year in June, I'm going to go to Vietnam. So that's where you click suggest a date and follow the prompts to do that. If we go back, you'll see that some of these fantastic members have already done that. So Tracy here has already put her name down for Morocco, and she's actually said roughly May 2025. So when you suggest a date, you don't need to be precise about it. You just need to say, this is when I'd roughly like to go. And this trip only went live earlier today, so she's the first person on. But I might say I'm interested in going to Morocco. In fact, I'm interested in going to Morocco. I'm going to say I'm interested in this one as well. I'm not going to go through and show you the next steps of that just yet. I can show you that a bit later. But I'm interested in Morocco, and you can see I'm listed down as a person who's interested in Morocco. The trip listing here gives a bunch of information that we think is important, but actually we're not trying to replicate everything. We're trying to give everything that you might find on the trip website. We will provide a link on all these trips to whoever the provider is. In this case, it's Intrepid Travel. So if I click through this, you can see Intrepid has a list of dates, and they've got a lot more information. So we always encourage you to look at what they publish for their trip. But as we scroll down, you can see they have more information about the itineraries and so on, but also a bunch of different dates. Now you can see the prices here often go on sale. And the price that we've listed on Stitch is just their standard rack rate. You're not going to get that rate. You will get whatever the rate is that Intrepid has for a date you choose. You'll get that rate. And actually, most of the time, Stitch will be able to get you a cheaper rate as well. So we're just listing an indicative price but you have to then choose the date. But the prices only get locked in once you choose your date and all the details about whether you're traveling on your own or so on. But it's really important to note that any of the prices that you see listed, you're always going to get that price, and most of the time we'll get you a lower price as well. I'm just going to close that page, go back to this page here, and you can see I've said I'm interested on the trip, but I haven't unlocked the trip. Now, what is unlocking? Unlocking means I want to be part of the conversation with Tracy. I'd like to know more about Tracy, and I'd like to know more about the trip. I'd like to ask questions. I'd like to be part of the conversation. I'll show you what that looks like on a trip I'm going on. And so if I scroll across here, I'm actually going on a trip. It's called the Kumano Kodo, and it's a hike in Japan in April. And there's a couple of spots still left on this trip, but you can take a look at this, and you can see we've got 8 of us are going on the trip. There's a whole bunch of other people who are interested, so one of them will probably the trip will probably fill up with the people who are interested. But those of us who are on the trip and have unlocked it, we're all involved in a conversation. I'm just going to scroll all the way down here, and there's a whole conversation here. They're all having announcements, people sharing information about things. The sort of, people talk about, well, what are we doing beforehand? How will we meet up? What's the timing likely to be? What do you think about the food? Blah, 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 whatever. Being part of the conversation about the trip is a real part of the process. But one thing that's unique about what we're doing with Stitch now is for you to be part of that conversation, we ask you to unlock the trip. So there's a small commitment. It depends on the price of the trip, but it might be $10, $20 to unlock the conversation, to be part of it. And all that's saying is you're serious enough to be in this conversation. You're not going to waste anyone's time. You're serious. It doesn't mean you're committing to go on the trip. If you go on the trip, that money gets refunded. If you choose not to go, then you don't go. So it's a way of just putting a small level of commitment there, so that in this case, for all of us who are involved in planning this trip, we know that the people who are involved are actually serious about going on the trip, and we're not wasting our time with hundreds of people just chatting about it but saying, oh, that date's no good for me or whatever. We've actually got a date set. We're going on the 14th of April in 2025, away we go. But you'll see if I go back, some of the more recent ones have gone up. People have just suggested either a month or even just early 2025. Marilyn wants to go to Egypt. And so what Marilyn's looking for here is people to click on the trip, say they're interested, but if they are serious about it, then they should unlock it, be part of the conversation with Marilyn. And then as a result of that conversation, and also talking with the Stitch travel team about what the prices are going to be like and the timing and so on, we can narrow it down to a date and get the trip to happen. So that's how it works for the possibilities that we've got listed, the trips that we've put up there and suggested, and we'll put some more up. But also it's how it works for the trips that you see. You'll see the dates, and if you're interested in those dates, express an interest, and then if you want to be part of the conversation, unlock it. We really think it's worth doing. But what about a trip that you'd like to go on that you can't see listed? What about that? Well, I'm glad you asked. That's what this button up here is for. Suggest a trip. So just as you can suggest an activity on the activities page, you can suggest a trip. The difference is there's a lot less work involved for you. You don't need to write all the details and format it up. Let me show you how that works. So if you click suggest a trip, you'll be taken through the process of giving us the information, giving the Stitch travel team what it needs to list a trip for you. So first of all, you'll just be asked to tell us about your trip. This doesn't need to be super elaborate, but the more information you can provide, the better. If you've seen a trip listed somewhere online or in the newspaper or on TV, you can describe it here. Ideally, if you can provide a link to the travel provider, that's fantastic, but you don't need to. You just need to describe it. And this message that you put together is going to go through to the Stitch travel team, and they'll be able to talk to you about the trip you'd like to see. So you might say something like, I saw a trip, I won't type it now, I saw a trip about on a TV show, a travel TV show called Getaway, about going to Sri Lanka and picking tea. And it was, I think, something to do with, anyway, the more details you provide, the better. Blah, 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 blah. Then you need to tell us when you'd like to go. So something like early 2025, mid 2026, that sort of thing. You can have a month. You could have a precise date if you have to be there for a wedding. Give us a budget, because obviously there are plenty of trips out there. You might want to go cruising. There are thousands of cruises and all sorts of different budgets. So giving us an idea of the budget that you'd like to spend. So $1,000 to $2,000 maybe. Dollars. Or you can even just describe it. You can tell us, I don't want to spend too much, but I don't want to be doing dirt cheap, whatever. You get to choose who you would like us to invite. So this is important. So if you're the one who's creating a trip, you can choose the people who you want Stitch to show to, everyone in the whole Stitch community, or would you like to just show to people in your own country, in your own state or region, or just even in your local area, and we will add the ability to just put it out to a particular Stitch group if you want. So the idea is that you get to choose the kind of variety of people you want to travel with. We would always love to see you put it up for the whole community, because I really, as I said, love this idea of people getting to know each other from other parts of the world. But it's up to you what you say, and any questions you've got for the Stitch team, you put here. You'll be asked to confirm your number, and then away you go. So that's all it takes. It doesn't cost you anything to suggest a trip. It's a little bit of work for us on our side as we get the information, then put the listing up there. But if you are serious about going on a trip and you'd like to get listed, that's what you need to do. And then what happens from that is just exactly what I showed you. Other members will express an interest. You start to see who's interested. Some of them might even unlock the trip. So then you can reach out to them and contact them and be part of the conversation. Again, you might be looking for a roommate, you might be looking for a travel buddy, all that sort of stuff. And really, it's really up to you at that point about making it happen. The Stitch team is there to book the trips if you need them to. You don't need to book through Stitch. If you want to organize your own travel, of course, that's totally up to you. But if you do, we're there to make sure that things go the way you want them to, and ideally get the best rate. And of course, you are helping support the community, because travel is such a great part of what we're doing. So that's it. In terms of the overview, obviously there's still a lot more we're doing in terms of adding the ability to search and sort and find things and so on. But right now, it's just get those trips listed, get them up there, get them happening. And if you see some that you'd like to go on, get in early, because you'll see that amount of interest growing. And the people who actually then get in and unlock the trip are the ones who get to go. Obviously, with all these trips, there comes a date at which you need to actually decide, are you going? You have to pay a deposit. And then after that point, then obviously just before the trip, you'll have to pay the full amount. But that's part of the process. You're not making a commitment to go just while you're just getting started. But then the closer you get, the more committed everyone gets. And then, of course, away we go. Just like my Japan trip. Everyone's going on that trip. Super excited about that. And I hope to see many, many more trips and photos from all the Stitch members who are going having such a fantastic time. All right, that's it for this week. Let us know your thoughts and feedback in the comments. And until next time, bye for now.